I remember times when I would pour my heart into reading a book, and just after I'm finished, oh, what was that text about? I cannot seem to fully remember what I just read. This would happen more times than I would have loved. And I know there are a lot of people that have gone through such situations, and there's still a lot more that are still going through it. I actually knew people who, just after writing their final exams, would forget or partially remember what they had studied. They learned and mastered the art of passing exams. I believe we can all agree that this is not an ideal situation, but in this video, I will show you a method that will not only help you pass exams, but effectively understand the text that you read. Formal education in most institutions focuses on teaching students how to pass exams. At least it felt that way for me. Learning an effective way of fully understanding and remembering the text was entirely up to us. But there is a way that we can actually achieve that. It's rather intuitive, but takes a lot of practice to get just perfect. Hi guys, this is Bimlinga, and in this video, we're going to talk about the 5 steps to increase one's understanding when actively and effectively reading a specific text. This can only be achieved by intentionally engaging them in the reading process, both before, during, and after. This method has been extensively studied and proven to work. It is called the SQ3R. SQ3R stands for Survey, Question, Read, Recite, Review. SQ3R is a study method developed on the basis of cognitive psychology, which promotes enhanced learning of reading material. It was proposed by Francis P. Robinson, a prominent American educational psychologist, in his book, Effective Study. Here are the 5 steps. The first step is a survey step. During this step, you scan and review the text to identify its structure. This better prepares the brain processing for what is about to come. This is done in order to gain an initial concept or understanding of the text. During this step, pay attention to information that stands out to you, such as headings, body text, tables, diagrams, charts, and make sure to read their caption. Skim through the introduction sentences of each section. Read the introduction and the summary of the text. Go over the study questions and take note of what they're asking you. This will provide you with an idea of what the text is talking about and possibly what you need to pay attention to. It will build your focus, or at least enhance your brain to actively read the text. And this should be done between 3 to 5 minutes once you get a hang of it. This can be like knowing this general basic rules of a sport that you're interested in. Let's say a sport like tennis. So at this stage, you just scan through tennis and you know what equipment is used for tennis and where is tennis played and how many people play the game. The second step is a question or query step. During this step, we generate questions about the content of the text and write them down. We generate what, how, or who kind of questions. We can do this by converting the headings, the subheadings, the body text, and any text that is of interest to you. We can also generate general questions such as, what is this text talking about? What am I expected to learn from this text? What is the meaning of that body text? Etc., etc. This is done so we can have a clear purpose for the next step, which is a reading step, and also to better prepare ourselves for what kind of information we expect to see or pay close attention to. This step can be difficult at first, for it is hard to generate our own questions. But generating our own questions will help guide the reading process much more efficiently. So let's go back to our tennis example again. We would generate questions like, what happens when the ball bounces twice? Who gets the point when the ball bounces twice? How does one get points? How does one win a match in tennis? How many sets are in a tennis match? etc., etc. The third step is a reading step. During this step, actively read the content of the text whilst paying close attention to the answers for the questions that you generated in the previous step. The questions that we generated in the previous step will help the reader keep a watchful eye in trying to find the answers for those questions. And once we find those answers, make sure to word them in your own words. Therefore, using the context that we acquired in the previous two sections, the reader is engaged in the text actively. For the SQ3R method forces the reader to actively engage in the text rather than passively, and this can be considerably demanding cognitively whilst also being engaging. In our tennis example, this will be equivalent to actually playing the match or watching an actual match. And as we watch or play the match, we pay attention to the questions that we generated, so that when that moment comes, or when the ball bounces twice, or when the match is finished, we pay close attention to the umpire and see how he or she allocates points and determines the winner. The fourth step is a recite step. During this step, read out loud or recite out loud the material that we've just read in the previous step. Read out the answers that you found and worded in your own words, and also the important parts of the text that you just read. You can also write a summary at this stage and look back at the answers for all the questions that you generated. Make sure that you found the answers for all those questions. And I'll repeat, make sure that the answers are in your own words. This shows a level of understanding of the text, and it shows that you can explain it in your own words. For it's been proven that rewording the text in your own words is much better and effective than actually just copying and pasting the text. All through this process, make sure you have a pen and paper, for all the questions that you generate and the answers that you find should be written down. This also helps to provide another memory point that you can easily go back to and read. And again, rewording the answers to your own words will help you, or me, or anybody conceptualize the content of the text. This step can be the most time-consuming step of the SQ3R method. This is because it involves all the previous steps together, and also rewording the answers can also be time-consuming and straining on the brain if you've never done it before. And in order for the SQ3R method to achieve its efficacy, please do not skip this stage. Complete it in its entirety, no matter how long it takes. It will get easier over time, and you take less time and less time as you get better at it. This will help give the brain more time for processing, and if done right, it will help transfer the knowledge from the short-term memory to the long-term memory. Continuing with our example, this would be a part where you say out loud or discuss with a friend the whole concept of the game of tennis, how the scoring is done, how many points make up a set, how many sets are played to win a match, how many players for each type of game, etc., etc. The fifth and final step of the SQ3R method is a review step. After you have gone through the first 4 steps, review the information by repeating the most important parts to yourself. Remember to use your own words for all the answers that you've gathered, and make sure that you've answered every question that you generated in step 2. If you have forgotten some parts, for which is very normal, all of us do forget, please go back to those parts that you forgot and reread the section. This will help stick that information or that text into your brain and possibly move it from a short-term memory to your long-term memory. Look over the reading notes and quiz yourself. Answer all the chapter questions, if any provided. And finally, reread the most important sections slowly. Remember why you're reading that text. This helps to lock in the text that you just read. This process will also help with information retention, for it will interfere with the forgetting mechanism of the brain. For we know we human beings are quick to forget. And once you have reached this part, you have completed one cycle of the SQ3R method, and will repeat for the next chapter and the ones that come after. Remember, this requires deliberate practice to master, and it will take time. But with proper dedication and proper time management, this will come to us eventually. In order for it to be mastered and become automatic, one needs to artificially repeat the SQ3R method. The SQ3R method has been proven to be effective, and it will help with information retention, for example, on exams, better organization skills, association, and critical thinking. And it will force the use of the brain's information processing system more productively. If you like this video and the type of information that I provide, please like, subscribe. Thank you, and see you next time.